Hi, I'm Elizabeth Gearhart. I'm here with Ky Scott of Santander. He is a small business relationship manager. Hey, Ky.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, I want to know, why do your clients like working with you?
I believe people like to work with honest folks, people that are going to tell you how it is and not give you any fluff. And so I believe that a lot of my clients really appreciate my honesty and my communication with them through whatever process we're dealing with. If it's a loan, or if it's a new account opening process, or if there's an issue of some kind, a check or whatever, the communication that I do my best to relay between me and my partners, I believe is the most important piece. And I believe that brings a peace to the clients, to the customers, to know that, listen, I'm going to take care of the situation no matter if I don't have the answers or not. I'll get somebody, one of my partners, to make sure that we take care of it. And I think that's what people value the most about me.
So when somebody opens an account through you, or you're the introduction person, do you maintain that relationship with them?
Absolutely. It's very important for me to keep in contact. Um, well, the bank has their own concept of contact every quarter. Sometimes for me, it's 8 weeks or maybe 6 weeks. It just really depends on obviously my time schedule. But sometimes a quick text, a quick email, to let the customer know that, hey, you were on my mind. How's everything going? Is there anything I can help you with today? Or, is there, I know you had an issue last time. How's everything going now? So I think that all those things go a long way. And especially now in an unprecedented time, you need a banker that's going to be willing to be able to communicate to you exactly the initiatives that the banks are doing, and to keep you up to date with basically everything that's going on. And that's a service that I provide at Santander. They really want us to be involved in the communication to that degree. It's not just an email that they want us to send out. And I don't believe in that either, although we send them out, but we also want to make that call, the touch point, and letting the clients know that, we're here for them.
I remember when my husband started his law firm, the bankers were visiting us, once every couple months or so. And then eventually that just kind of dwindled out. And we had a banker. It's at a different bank than Santander. We had a banker that he liked, that she would come and ask us, how are things going? Do you want remote deposit? I can help you set that up. Um, Many needs a small business would have that banks can provide that they're not necessarily aware of. And
Right.
I imagine that that's what you do, right? Like you.
Yeah. Yeah. So all those things you're talking about, in particular, remote deposit and such, those are what we call cash management or treasury services. And
Mhm.
those are convenient services that we offer to the client to make their banking so much more convenient to them and easier. So this way you don't necessarily have to go to the branch if you don't need to. Although obviously we love clients coming in and saying hi and making their deposits.
Yes.
But obviously, it's going to be some withdrawals in there too. But listen, if you don't have a need to come, we want to make sure we provided the service needed so that you're able to conduct your business accordingly outside of you coming in the four walls.
So
So
you have,
that's where all those technology comes from.
right. So you have remote deposit, you have
Mhm.
online banking. Are
Yes.
there other tools that you have?
Absolutely. So there's two types of remote deposits. They have a remote deposit using your cell phone. You can take a picture of a check up to a certain amount. Those are actually lower amounts, a couple thousand here and there. But then, if you have bigger checks, then that's where the remote deposit scanner comes into play, where you can scan multiple checks at a time. You're basically your own teller, and that's very convenient for, especially if you have let's just say you have an office manager. Let's say your husband had an office manager, a person who can just sit there and actually make check deposits if you have a client influx like that. So we offer that, those treasury services. We offer wires at a discounted rate. We offer ACH payment and ACH collection. They're very different. So um, again, these are all services that we offer to make the client's experience. We tailor the client experience to them. Yeah, there are some fees attached to some of these things, but some of these fees that you're getting attached, um, there is a comparison usually with other banks that either makes it cheaper, or obviously you're paying for the convenience. Because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes, you know, some of the services that banks offer just as a whole, it's not always the cheapest. But if it's convenient for you, I know a lot of customers that will pay for the convenience as opposed to not having the convenience. You know what I mean? So I think that's the biggest thing. You know, obviously we don't want fees, you know, in a sense, from the banker's position, fees are always something that we want to try to stay away from as much as we can. But but there are certain things that we can't avoid, and so we gotta make sure we present it so that the client's fully aware, they understand. And obviously, if there's a savings there, we want to position that, obviously, you know. But then obviously, you know, we also want to position the fact that sometimes these fees are for your convenience, and so that's why they're there.
Okay. Do you offer lines of credit and credit cards?
Good question. So Santander does not offer business credit cards; they offer personal. But to counteract that, usually our unsecured line of credit um, is higher, has a higher limit than most banks.
Oh.
It used to be at 150, which is one of the highest I've seen in the market
Hmm.
for unsecured line of credits. And unsecured literally just means that we do what they call in the bank world. My former mortgage and bank people would know this streamlined process. And all that means is that they're trying to make the process easier, but at the same time, clients to be more compliant. The banks can still be compliant with all the regulations. And my laptop is dying. I can't believe that I just saw that in the middle of the interview.
That's okay. Personalizes it.
Yeah, that's what personalizes it. So, and I don't want to cut off and then cut back on. No, 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 no. So let's do that. So, um, so yeah, so lines of credit, we offer lines of credit to our clients, unsecured, with a streamlined process. Um, all lines of credit applications under 100,000 go through a streamlined process where the financial documentation that's normally required is not there. Obviously, in our unprecedented time, it's a little bit different, but normally it's really a 4506T. We don't report the tax returns because we can obviously get most of the information we can from the 4506T. Right now, it's any loan 100,000 or less, which would be unsecured line. We're asking for the most recent tax return. There is a statement that we have the business owner complete, which is called a COVID-19 statement. It just talks about exactly how you've been affected by the pandemic itself. And if you were affected, obviously, then what ways have you adjusted, pivoted, or not? You know, it just because you haven't doesn't mean that we won't lend to you. We have to make it make sense. So yeah.
So what is the typical interest rate? Are you like at market plus 2% or something?
Yeah, right now, lines of credits will start at prime, which is, I believe, 3.25.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's a number of different factors
Hmm.
that will determine if you get points.
Okay.
It could be +1, +2. It could be up to plus 6.5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I want to say 6.5. But most people don't go that high. I mean, your credit has to be really, you have to be really on the fringe with your credit, you know, really just a lot of things going on, or maybe a lot of debt all of a sudden. Then that's where or depend on your industry now. You know, right now, biggest thing is industry risk does change the interest rate also.
Right. Well, that makes sense. You take
Yeah.
more of a risk as a bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that people really think about it this way, but our deposits are what you lend out to other people. So we do want you to be strict, right?
Yeah, a lot of there are some people that don't know how the banks actually work. But yeah, they take your deposits and that's how they reinvest the money and that's how they collect, you know, and yeah, you know, we want to make sure that we do our due diligence, even from a customer standpoint. But
Mhm.
we all know, honestly, it's not a secret. There are shareholders, so we got to make sure that we are profitable for our shareholders. And that's where small business really comes into play, because small business is really driving force of most, I would dare to say all banks. And that's why there's an emphasis around it right now. People such as myself are in high demand uh, as far as lenders and relationship managers who we don't want business clients to go. We want to help business clients to the best of our ability, depending on the risk, obviously. And that I would say is probably something that I've seen in the industry across the board, and which is honestly a good thing, right? We want banks to be, and obviously my bank is like this, so that's why I'm saying that they want we want to be favorable to the client even when they're going through a hard time, right?
Mm.
I've had people cry on the phone with me with the whole paycheck protection program funding and making sure they get the money and helping them through the process. And we're not telling them exactly the numbers and say, but just calling them and being there, I think was probably the most important thing that I've seen. And it's such a good feeling to know that you're helping people down to their core. You know, we're talking about food on the table for 8 weeks for their employees and for themselves. So we were able to provide those services. And I mean, look, the bankers didn't get paid for it, but none of us cared, to be honest with you. It was more like, we're trying to help you get the money to put food on your table. What can we do to help? I was up 12 o'clock some nights helping clients with the paperwork and things of that nature. And this is not me tooting my horn. I can name a whole bunch of people in my company and other banks that I have friends that work at doing what I do as well, staying up late, helping clients on the phone, sending out emails. We're doing the whole nine from our homes with our kids. Hopefully, my daughter doesn't photobomb in the video. So, but yeah, that's a good thing.
That's what I was going to ask you about if you did the PPP, and it sounds like you did a lot of them, and that's where the relationship thing really comes into
Yes,
play.
yes. The I sent out a communication in the beginning of April to all of my clients in my book of business, and I told them, look, we're doing this. Here is some information. I gave them an overview of some of the stuff that I collected that the company has given me, just stuff that I knew. And I said, listen, we're doing this. Please stay tuned, check your emails, give me a call if you have questions. I had a number of people that called me. We had conversations on, how the process is going to go. And all throughout the whole month of April and into May, and so, we had the first wave, which went really fast. I think it was
Yeah.
a lot of things that even the bankers weren't expecting. I mean, I'm talking to bankers who've been in this 20 years and they're like, we've never seen nothing like this. This is just new for everyone. So there were a lot of upset people, and rightfully so, but we also knew that it wasn't the end. And so the second wave came, and that's when majority of banks really were able to help a lot of businesses. We were able at Santander to do over 11,000 businesses, help them with their PPP funding. And we did over 1.2, almost 1.2 billion. It's probably more than that now, being that they stood it, they pushed it into August now, the opening. But it's a good feeling that a lot of people were able to go ahead and take advantage of the funding that the SBA has provided,
Well, and
which is another thing that we do, SBA financing.
oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that, but I had heard
Yeah,
that if you wanted to get the PPP loan, that you really had to go to your own bank, that your own banker that you had a relationship with already, that you couldn't just walk into a bank and say, I want the PPP loan, but you've never seen me before. So that's another reason people like you
yeah,
are so important.
yeah. It was really important to have me on your speed dial because when you needed an application or something happened, if you went to the branch, then they would be calling me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you kind of come full circle. I say, call me, you don't call me, you go to the branch, and then they say, oh, we got to call Ky. So you're right back with me. But nevertheless, yeah, it definitely helps streamline the process when, and my bankers were informed to just, hey, anybody starts talking about the program, give me a call, let me take care of them. And through that, I've even built some new relationships with people and business owners that I did not get a chance to meet because they were just busy, and having great conversations, learning about people's lives and family, and learning about their business, and just it was definitely an eye opener. We were sitting at home for 12 weeks or whatever it was, and I'm sitting here having great interactions with clients through, we were already set up with laptops and stuff. So I was doing a lot of WebEx calls and stuff, and I'm meeting people, and kids are photobombing, animals are photobombing. But it was good. I'm not saying that I want to go back to it, but what I'm saying is that we were prepared. The business division was prepared to do remote, and it was very smooth and streamlined. But we did a lot of learning along the way, so it helped. All of it helped along the way.
Yes, and I've met a lot of people that like you, that I have never met in person, but I've kind of become friends with through
Right.
working and stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
and you are a father with a beautiful
Yes, I am.
daughter. How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 8 months,
Yeah.
and she is the funniest person in this house over my wife. She is she's just such a happy baby, and I think she's about to photobomb.
That's good.
So, but she's such a happy baby. She's a good kid. We enjoy her. Yep, she's photobombing. You want to say hi to the people, Kaya? Her name is Kaya.
Hi, Kaya. Oh my goodness, look at how
Yeah,
beautiful you are.
she is. So this is why I do everything that I do is for her.
Yeah.
And she is a bundle of joy. She is a lot of fun. And she's got these two little pinchers down here. She's got two little pinchers down here that actually really hurt. They really bite, So if I was to give her see, she's already biting down. Ah! Say bye-byes. Mm-hmm. And my wife takes her back. That's the boss of the house right there. All the jokes and everything. So,
Work with you, they know that you get it when it comes to families and taking
yeah,
people and making money. And so, can we talk SBA loans a little bit?
sure.
So how do you do those through your bank?
So, SBA. SBA is a great option for clients, especially for businesses, to get financing when their business is really volatile. The greatest example I can think of that takes SBA funding is restaurants, right? Restaurants have a high probability of succeeding, but they have a very high probability of not succeeding. And so what we do is SBA says, hey, we'll finance like 60 or 70% of it. And the bank says, okay, I can do the difference. That's not bad. I can do 30, 40% risk. I can't do 100. And that's the thought process with SBA. But there are two types of SBA. Well, there's two reasons why you would go to SBA. So a client can have the client can have a good business, good financial history the last 2 years, but they necessarily don't have the collateral per se to cover the loan. So if they wanted a loan for 200,000, once you go over the unsecured amount, in our case right now today, the unsecured amount is 100,000. So once you go over that, we would need what we call a full financial package that includes your personal and the business. And then on the business, we're asking for your accounts receivable, which is showing us how you're getting paid and the concentration of how you're getting paid. And that kind of tells us and gives us a good projection on your funds. And then we can use that if you have accounts receivable, or we can use inventory. If you have inventory, then we can do 50% of your inventory, 50% of the ARs. And so those are the collateral pieces. Or obviously, if you have a set of cash that you don't want to spend, you want to put it in a savings account, we can collateralize the savings account, give you a great interest rate because you're providing really almost zero risk to the bank.
Mhm.
And that's another way you can do, and you can avoid SBA. Or even if you do SBA, you get a secure cash line. SBA is there to back it up. God forbid something does happen. But like I said, those cases, they're few far in between with the cash collateral. It's usually more SBA, and it's only usually when there's a collateral shortfall uh, to finance the loan,
Mhm.
and then we cover it. But like I said, certain industries, it doesn't matter if you even have the collateral, we're going to do SBA. And restaurants, like I said, off the top of my head, is always number one on that list that we help. But I've helped a lot of restaurant owners over the years get lines of credit. They go through seasons. Like the winter time sometimes is really not a good season, especially for caterers. But they do well overall. Hey, listen, take a couple months, you have some money, make sure you keep up your payroll, and you're able to pay that back once the season rolls back up again. And it's there for you to use at your at your leisure. It's not like we're holding it over your head to use the money, but I always tell people, do it now when you don't really need it, so that when you need it, you have it, and you're not going through the process to get it and then you need it really fast.
Yeah, that's really good advice. So do you have to have your business, has your business have to been in existence for 2 or 3 years to get that?
Good question. So when the business has not been in existence for 2 years, that's also a SBA financing that we do. That will be for startups. So with the startups, you will have to have a business plan. We will have to see your resume. We will want to know how much you're putting into the business, or how much you're funding the business already.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on the type of business you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give an example. If you are a dentist, right, or if you're a doctor, medical field, right, banks love healthcare because they know money's going to come in. That's just the way it is, right? And so when you make your business plan, hey, I want to create a dentist with just Invisalign, and like the top of state of the art products and this and that and the third. So the bank says, okay, they're going to be in insurance networks. They're going to get money. So let's use SBA. We want this deal. Let's use SBA. Um, in certain banks, they have actually healthcare bankers that just focus on specific stuff, which we have. We have a dental program for dentists where there's specific loans for them. And so it really, each business is just really different, and it just depends on the business. But SBA is great for startups, great for minorities, including gender minority. Women in business. SBA is a great tool to use, and it's there to help businesses get the money that they need to jumpstart their business.
Well, it's going to be something I'll have to look at for Fireside.
Yeah, it definitely is a good thing. And we have a great SBA partner, Brianna. I'm saying her name over the internet, and that's okay. She'll be all right. Brianna is awesome, and the SBA team that we have, they have a wealth of experience using not just SBA, but just coming from nonprofits and just understanding the financial situations that a lot of business owners go through. So it makes it easy for all of us to kind of work as a team. She's one of my partners, and we work as a team. She's on my phone, speed dial. She's an actual person that lives very close to me, and so that's another thing. You have like these divisions in the bank that's like in Texas or like in California, and then no, everything is right here. If you're not in New York, New Jersey area, then they're in Boston, which is about a 3.5 hour, 4 hour drive. So I like that also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That a lot of the people, they're not super far away.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some stuff in Florham Park, New York, and so the tri-state area. So it is a good feeling to have the support, because that's the biggest thing for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We're like the face of everything, but then we got to have these bubbles on the side and say, okay, if it's SB, I got to call this person. If it's cash management, I got to call this person. If it's this, I got to get this person involved. And so a lot of times when I'm sitting with a client, I got a notepad, right? I have my notepad here for you. So I got like a notepad. I don't use this one in particular. It's a Santander one. It's nice and it's red. and I'm jotting down notes and this and that, and just so I don't forget anything,
Mm.
because it's a lot that can go into helping a business be successful, using our services.
Well, that sounds wonderful. So how do people find you?
There's a couple of ways that people can find me. I have what we call centers of influence. Try not to use a lot of acronyms. Centers of influence for me are CPAs. So I have a LinkedIn page. It's my name, Ky Scott. I have an Instagram page. That's also my name, Ky, my middle initial J Scott. So that has like my number and my phone number, my cell phone number, and my email. The easiest way to contact me is just straight up my cell phone. You give me a call, or you send me an email and say, hey, this is so and so. I have a business,
Mm.
and I'm looking to build a relationship with a bank, and something like that along those lines. There's one more thing I want to talk about. So the sweet spot for relationship managers as a whole, especially for Santander, we deal with businesses that are generally doing gross sales of 500,000 up into 3 million. I also have a banker that deals with the 3 million and up.
Mm.
Some of the businesses that we do have may do over 3 million, but based on our relationships, we may still be the relationship holder. And the reason why there's a detachment between, and actually anything under 500, 500,000 and under, it goes to what we have small business specialists in the branches. So each person has been trained specifically for the business role. So a lot of the SBR, small business relationship managers like myself, have been SBSs before, so we understand the branch side. And then my business banker that deals with the bigger businesses, he used to be in my role and most likely in that role. So we all work together to make sure that each of us doing the best that we can. And it is a partnership across the retail and the business side, right? I'm learning a lot from my guy that's doing over 3 million, because he's a credit guru. I call them credit gurus. Those guys are really good at understanding credit, and so that helps me be more efficient in what I do. Um, but yeah, you find me with my cell phone number. I'm assuming you want me to say it, so I'll say it.
Yeah.
My cell phone number is 201-815-0364. It's the best number to reach me at. Also, my email is my name. So it's Ky, which is KY, period, Scott, SCOTT, at santander.us. Those are the best ways to reach out to me. Cell phone is easier. You can call me and text me. Um, and I think, again, that's another thing that really makes this job work, is because you're accessible.
Hmm.
When I was working in the branches, I didn't necessarily give out my cell phone number because, hey, if I'm not in the branch, I can't help you.
Right.
you know, so at least with my cell phone, even if I'm not in the branch, I can always at least either make a call to someone who is, or I can pull open my laptop, get online with my hotspot if I'm somewhere, or if I'm coming out of another appointment or something, I can get on my laptop, get on my hotspot, and see what's going on and see if I can help. But yeah, so we do all kinds of loans, letters of credit, which I don't do as much. I don't see many of those, but we do them. We do SBA lending. That could be any type of SBA lending. The 504, which is the commercial real estate. We do the 7A Express. The difference is the amounts. So you can have some people doing 100, 150,000, and you have people buying into maybe a FedEx, someone buying into a FedEx route, which is like 700,000. You know,
Wow.
so so the loan could be, you know, tailored, but that's a totally different type of loan as opposed to the express loan. Um,
So
so you
you,
have that, and then we do regular term. Then the bank itself does lines of credit themselves. They do term loans themselves. We do equipment financing, and I like equipment financing because it's very specific. Uh, there's very specific interest rates with equipment financing.
okay.
And so we don't have like this wide range. Usually when we quote a range of interest rate, it's like, hey, it's going to be from prime to 9-10%, but equipment finance is not that. It's going to be in the 5% range. It's probably between 5.3 and 5.8. That's it. So
So,
that works. And then we do commercial real estate too, owner occupied commercial real estate.
oh, okay. So if somebody comes to you and says, this is what I have, then it sounds like you go through all of the different options and help them find the right one for them, the best one.
Correct. Correct. Honest, obviously we want to make sure that whatever business I come in contact with, if I can do what the other bank is already doing, and plus add me to the mix, because I feel like I'm more of the asset than anything else, then hey, look, it's a great fit. I'm gonna go for it. But there are times, honestly, that what, it's not a good fit. It's unless you really just want to come and just be with me, which I would absolutely 100% love. I don't want somebody getting charged $200 extra just to be with me. Like it we're talking over 12-month time. That's a lot of money, and I don't want to, sometimes it's just me like, what, you're in a good situation. You just are, so sometimes when we're dealing with lending, they may be in a good situation. So we may say, what, that's a good rate. If I touch it, you may not get this. We may not be able to beat it or match it, and that's okay. That's where the honesty comes in. I was talking about in the beginning. If you're honest with the client, the client may say, well, forget it. I just want it over there. Okay.
Right.
and that's the end of it, so we just try to do right. I look at my clients as they were my own, like, family members of some sort, in a way. Like, I don't want to mistreat them. I don't want them to do anything wrong. I don't want nothing bad to happen to them. You know, the pandemic. Some of my clients have family members that were sick, and it's just your heart breaks for them. You break for them because these are the people. I'm with my clients more than I'm home. Because I'm working 40, 50 hours a week at the job, and then I come home, but I'm coming home to sleep most of the time, and I catch my daughter on the weekends maybe. But she knocked out by 7 o'clock. She's gone,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so you sound like a fantastic resource and like a nice guy to work with. And it does sound like you're a straight shooter. And that's what people really need from a banker,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it doesn't help me to kind of covet stuff. If that's the way it is, then just, hey, you need to know this is how it is, and the last thing I need is for a client to be blindsided by something that I could have avoided, because maybe that was a deal breaker for them, So one of the questions I always ask my clients is, hey, look, you're switching from such and such bank, TD, Provident, wherever. What didn't go well? What went well? What didn't go well? Now I have a basis of, listen, if I do this, they're leaving. It's a trigger, right? It's like in a relationship. Listen, if you do this, snip, I'm cutting up the papers. Okay. We won't touch that button, So I think that's really important, because we need to know, as relationship bankers, we need to know what is going to keep you, and we don't want you to just open up an account, and then you mentioned this earlier, and the people will come by, and then all of a sudden they wouldn't, or they did, but it was just like the same thing. Sometimes for me personally, sometimes I would, like, I have a client that lives by my house, so sometimes I just drive by, honk the horn. He may be outside, and, hey, what's going on? Hey, and that's my interaction with him. Because what, I don't need to always go in every single time I see the client and say, hey, how's everything? Because if you have this relationship with them, when you talk to them, you already know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's, and shout out to Peter. That's my guy, Peter Brooks. That's what I'm talking about. I remember pulling up, and I was like, oh, you're here. You did tell me you was close by my house, and he's one of my clients, and so it's a good thing, and it was a good feeling. I'm like, he literally, I could walk here.
Yeah.
I had to cross the highway though, but
Well,
yeah.
well, our money is one of the most important things, not the most important, but one of the most important.
Yes.
Kids obviously and family are the most important, but we have to
Yes.
feed them. So you do want to work with somebody you can trust and like and feel
Yeah.
comfortable with as your banker. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's a tremendous, like I said, on our end, it's a tremendous feeling. On my end, um, it, it is one of the reasons why I got into it. It's not like cash money. Obviously, we get paid well, but the satisfaction for me knowing that, hey, I just helped someone get their warehouse to have inventory at a decent rate, so now they could, instead of getting shipments every 2 weeks, they get one big shipment, put it in a warehouse, and they sell it from there. That streamlines the process for that client in a way where they're getting paid now. The time has been probably cut in half. If they're getting it from overseas, Italy. I'm thinking of one specific customer off the top of my head. They're getting the stuff overseas from Italy. They got to bring it here, and then they got to go out and install it. But if they had the warehouse, which is he's trying to get, he would just buy a whole bunch of stuff, put it in the warehouse, and then say, okay, this is our inventory, what we have. And if they wanted something extra, then hey, look, it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks. But if you get something here, so now he's giving the client options. Right now there's no option, whatever you get, 2 to 3 weeks. you know
And
and
people,
so yeah,
yeah, people always want it now. Right.
people always want it now. So
Great.
we always look, every client situation is different. We look at the financials, that tells the story financially. Then it's my job as the banker that when the underwriter's looking at this stuff, when other members of the bank are reading notes about the business client, for whatever reason, maybe you called up to verify your debit card or something, they don't just know you by the account, they know you, the person. And that's my job, to convey the message in writing so that they know the person, not so much the number.
Well, that's awesome, Ky. And I think we've gotten to know you a little bit through this. So
Yeah.
is there anything else anybody needs to know about you, or
Um,
think we got it?
I mean, unless you want to know some extracurricular stuff, I do a lot of stuff outside. I usually travel once a year overseas for mission trips. My church, which is in Lincoln Park, we partner up with different ministries in different countries. So most recently last year, I was in Mexico for over a week and a half, and I had a blast. Um, and serving food, cooking food and serving food to kids, giving out toiletries. And this is our money. We donate we put up our own money. See, she's photobombing, but with her voice.
Yeah.
We put up our own money to go and travel and to serve in other countries, in whatever capacity they ask us. Doing that, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Ethiopia, and I've been to Kenya.
Wow.
And so, I do go on vacation. I've been to the Dominican Republic and stuff like that. But my vacations mainly are those mission trips, because you're in a whole nother country, you're learning a whole new culture. You're with people, that some of them are my best friends. Some of my best friends with me on there. So that's one of the extracurricular things I like to do. I like to go overseas and serve. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very wonderful. So
Yeah. So I know we have somebody in chamber that works with the kids in Ghana. So when I met him, I was like, oh man, we got a lot in common
oh,
already. We got a lot in common,
well,
so
when people do that, it's so
yeah.
necessary, so needed.
Yeah. I mean, I do some stuff local too, I'm from Bergen County, so I do some stuff locally here, and we don't just go out and forget about the United States. We serve here too, but that's a big one. When you're flying away for 2 weeks, you got to get shots and take malaria pills and things of that nature.
Yeah.
That's when you're not in America. You're not in America.
Great.
Yeah. So that's that's a little bit of the life of a relationship manager at Santander. There's a whole lot more that we do as far as lending and things of that nature. If you want to know more, I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with whoever reaches out to me. So yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can find me on Facebook if you want to do it on Facebook. It's a little bit more personal, but my work stuff is there. Just different ways of communication, and you can look me up strictly by my name.
Great. Well, thank you, Ky.
You're welcome.